Okay, we're going to start the regular board meeting for, what is it? April 14th. And we'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flags are over here now.
Oh, no. I pledge allegiance to
The flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that brings us to additions, deletions, amendments to the agenda and the adoption of the agenda. We do have one deletion. It's the facilities report.
I move we adopt the agenda with the deletion as presented.
It's okay.
Okay, there's a motion to adopt the agenda with the deletion of the facilities report by Director Albright and seconded by Director Haysinger. There's no discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, brings us to the consent agenda, the special board meeting minutes, the work session meeting minutes, the regular board meeting minutes and special board meeting minutes of March 10th and February 10th, and then confirming employment.
That we set the consent agenda as presented.
A second.
There's a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented by Director Sweeney and seconded by Director Wojtowski. There's no discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 6-0. Reports, superintendent report. Amy.
Have a few areas here, so in relation to school funding and long-range planning, while our current revenue projections from the state remain relatively stable, expenditures are projected to increase disproportionately across the board, from utilities to staffing to supplies. Additionally, our PERS side accounts are projected to be depleted by 2027. In that regard, we're beginning to plan more intentionally for upcoming financial shifts. In anticipation of that change, we're developing a long-range personnel strategy focused primarily on natural attrition. The goal is to reduce staffing costs through expected retirements and resignations in order to maintain as much program stability as possible, with the goal being maintaining an adequate ending fund balance for next year. This planning work is still in development, and we will continue to refine projections and bring updates to the board as assumptions become clearer, but we should all begin to prepare for the budget to be much tighter than it has been over the past handful of years. Bargaining update, we've officially begun planning for the bargaining process with the classified and licensed unions. We are seeking one board member who's interested in participating with the classified discussions. Larry's agreed to serve as the board's representative for those, the license sessions. So if you're interested in participating with classified, let me know. Calendar and bell schedule work. After initial discussions and feedback, we've made the decision to take additional time with our calendar and bell schedule planning process. As a result, the board will not be presented with alternative calendar options for a vote this evening beyond the traditional calendar. Given the current uncertainties related to budget and staffing, this is an area where it's important we move thoughtfully and deliberately. Taking additional time now will position us to make a more informed and sustainable decision moving forward. The ABC dinner and auction. I'd like to remind the board of the upcoming ABC dinner and auction this Saturday, April 18th. This event plays a critical role in supporting programs and opportunities for our students that would not otherwise be possible without the generosity of our community. It's always a meaningful evening and a great way to see the direct impact of community support on our schools. And then finally, state testing and accountability. State testing begins this month. Our staff across our buildings have been working hard to emphasize the importance of attendance, effort, and student engagement during this window so that our results accurately reflect the learning and growth that's taken place throughout the year. As a reminder, Oregon's new accountability framework will begin rolling out next year. The system will place an increased emphasis on key indicators, including early literacy, middle school math, 9th grade on track, graduation rates, and student attendance. It'll also include more structured expectations for intervention and support in districts identified for improvement, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we get more guidance from ODE on that front. But we had a meeting about it today, and a positive is we are already internally doing the work that they're asking us to do, so it's not going to be a heavy lift on our district's part. So that's all I have for my report.
I'll be on that negotiating thing.
Oh. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's no questions for Amy, that brings us to the discussion part, the schedule of board events. And the next regular board meeting is May 12th, 2026, beginning at 7 and it's just here in the district boardroom. Teacher Appreciation Week is May 4th through May 8th. And this says the first meeting of the budget committee is Tuesday, May 19th at 6 here in the boardroom, followed by the regular board meeting, but that can't be right because the board meeting is the 12th.
Yeah, so the budget committee, Jan had proposed revisions one more time based on conflicts and the news register requirements for notifications. Where is that one?
Very back one, I think, or you took it over.
I have it around. So in the back of your packet, we have June, we have April 24th, first published first notice of budget committee meeting, May 19th, first budget committee meeting. What do we have here? That's where the budget message will be presented. And then May 26th is the second. And it's on June 9th for a budget hearing.
So I'm guessing usually we do have the budget
Yeah,
committee
right.
meeting right before a school board
That's
meeting.
correct.
But it sounds like we didn't have time to put the notice in the news register,
Yeah,
so we had to postpone it.
yeah.
Okay.
That's how, I don't know that, but that's how I read
Yeah,
that.
we changed it the second time to be in alignment with the board meetings and then had to adjust it based on, there were new regulations that came out about the notices that Jan received and then she came to us. So this is actually the third revision based on those new requirements.
So I'm wondering one of two things. Should we make the meeting on the 12th at 6, which would
Yes.
normally be it, or should we change? I mean, would it
Yeah.
be possible to just change our board meeting to the night of the budget committee
Mhm.
so that we don't have 2 nights? And I'm open to either one. I'm just asking a question.
Either one would work on our end.
Terry's like, no.
Well, then you have to go twice. You have to come twice then.
I know that's okay, but I guess my take is the school board meetings, the whole community knows they're on the second Tuesday
Yeah.
of every month. For one meeting, I don't think we should change.
Well, if they're mad, I'm gonna send them to your house.
That's fine. My driveway's gated.
But change it,
So you just want.
but change the meeting to 6.
Okay, and then still
You just come twice.
come
Yeah.
twice.
And I'm sorry for all the confusion and iterations of this.
Well, it's the 19th and the 20th.
Sorry, what's the
Well, and
26th?
it's only the 26th if
second.
we don't pass it on the
Mhm.
19th.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
there'll be a meeting on the 26th.
This is helpful to me, these dates are, because I think we'll be able to get you more information more in advance than we have
Mhm.
in the past. And I have, at this point, more information than I've had previously at this point in time to make a budget. So I'm hopeful that you'll have more information sooner.
Alright. So May's busy.
May is busy, quite busy.
Okay, that brings us to the business section. Inter-district transfer criteria for 26-27 school year.
Yeah, you'll see this paper that shows the current enrollment and then projected enrollment. It's what you're seeing as a trend is our large senior classes. This one. Exiting and small incoming kindergarten classes. The birth rate for our incoming kindergarten classes in the 50s, but we've been consistently getting about 40 to register, so we'll let you know, but we haven't exceeded the cap that we're putting on transfers, and we have a real impetus to welcome anyone that wants to come to Dayton right now, so we just put 90 slots across the board in every grade level, and if we get more than is reasonable for class size, we would hire someone after the year starts, which isn't always ideal, but it is very doable at the same time. So
And we want the kids.
yes, we do.
So D is the ones transferring in.
Those,
To say that those 148 in column D, they're
Yes.
transferring into the district.
column D is what we currently have, the amount of transfers that make up our current enrollment.
Okay, and then we have more slots, but we don't have a projected people transferring to come in.
Correct.
Okay.
So then the F is the difference between the current interdistrict transfer students we have and the capacity that we would set for next year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Say that last piece again.
Column F is what the difference is between the 90 total seats that we would set as a board and the amount of interdistrict transfers that are currently taking up those seats. So for instance,
And that's a lot.
yes,
We want to bring in 1,080. I mean, that's more.
No. 386.
Well, no, the total seats is. There's the total seats include resident?
Yeah,
students?
yep,
Okay.
yep.
that's-
386 would be the total slots allowable for transfer students.
That's still a lot.
But we're not hitting that mark, not even close. So we could just,
So roughly, I don't, it's been several years ago I asked the question. I mean, we're 20% of the kids eligible for kindergarten or for school here aren't coming.
mhm.
Have we ever really looked at that with fidelity?
We've looked at the amount of students who live within the boundaries and are not enrolled. Incoming kinder is a little harder to even know who those kids are to find out. The trends that we're seeing in Dayton are consistent with the trends across Oregon and the rest of the country in terms of declining birth rates. So that is absolutely impacting our kindergarten enrollment, because when we used to have 80 to 100 students registering for kindergarten, now have 40. And we only have 50 students of kindergarten age in Dayton boundaries. That's obviously due to declining birth rates. What we saw was students who were living inside our boundaries and not enrolled in Dayton School District. It was a large portion was due to homeschooling, and that was from COVID on. And so we had worked with the WESD to do a campaign for us to bring in some homeschool students, but I think it's going to, we're going to need to meet individually one-on-one with all those families to find out why they are choosing to homeschool, and maybe demystify some of the work we're doing here and some of the program offerings that we have here. We are getting a significant amount of transfers from neighboring districts, more so than neighboring districts are getting from us. So you'll see here the 148 of our students are currently interdistrict transfers, which is a huge proportion of our current students. So we are offering things that students are finding, or families are finding in Dayton, that they aren't experiencing or haven't found in other districts. But I think it's absolutely imperative, like you're saying, to do an even deeper dive.
Yeah, I mean, the fact, I don't think statewide, 20% of kids are not homeschooled.
Yeah,
I think you'd be surprised.
but
I don't think I would.
I'll get those numbers from the WC, at least for our
I-
region.
I know it's not 20%. It's not anywhere close to that.
You're saying it's not 20% of kids that are not going to school at all. I'm
Well,
sorry.
so, yeah, we have roughly 50 kids that we've been trending per year that are eligible to start within our school system.
Right.
Only 40 of them are coming.
Right.
So that's 20% of them are going somewhere else or not going at all.
I know of two
That's-
moms that when they had to fill out what the child's gender preference for kindergarten said, I'm sending them somewhere else, or I'm homeschooling. Well, one homeschool, one sending elsewhere. And that's a state thing,
Yeah.
but you know, it is, I mean, I don't know what percentage, obviously, but if I know two, then there might be some more out there, so it might be worth.
I mean,
I don't know what you do about it.
I know our
Take it apart.
demographics are a little bit skewed, being a little more rural, a little more conservative. That does skew things a little bit
Mhm.
too. But
And I do think we've had, not to treat it like a business, but we've had a branding problem for a number of years. And I don't think, even today, we were in a meeting where we were talking about, we've tried podcasts, we've tried a prolific presence on social media, we've tried sending more like parent square information, we've tried community town hall type things, focus groups, and we're just finding it hard to land the information in people's laps in a way that they're receiving and understanding. There's still seems to be a lot of miscommunication out there. The other day I got an email from someone who's very in the know about our district and said that they're hearing chatter that our CTE programs are underperforming. And it's the opposite. And so I don't know the best way to demystify that for our families. And I do feel like in looking at the way other districts market their programs and their values and their philosophy, we do have a bit of a niche that is attractive to the transfers we are getting. I don't know how to get that out there more so that people are receiving it, though. I'll try more things, but I'm open to ideas.
I mean, I believe we're heading in a positive direction. I still just, 20% of our kids choosing another
Yep.
option, just, it gives me pause is all.
And I'm trying to look for the homeschool numbers.
I mean, I don't know where I read it. It was like a nationwide article. I don't think it was a local one. And it had the statistics of the percentage of kids going to private schools, and it was huge, and it was doing this.
And it's in a lot of like online schools, charter schools is a big one. So I don't know if we looked at how many of the students that aren't enrolled in our district. I can work with the WC and Molly to get a scatter plot to show where they are. But a lot of students also opted for online charter schools after COVID because they preferred that experience. But yeah, it is a
Somewhere
problem to solve.
like 9% sticks in my head that
Yeah.
that's the kids non-traditional avenues.
But it was a perfect storm because we had COVID where the schools are closed. And so parents were looking for a place for their kids to actually go to school, and we didn't open up for so long. I mean, I don't mean just we, but like the public schools just didn't open up. And so that was the private school opportunity. And then obviously I think there's a homeschooling, when you see the math scores, the English scores, there's talk about, what do you call it? Sort of not teaching kids more what to think than how to think. Like there's a lot of articles out there that would make a parent go, well, where do I want my kids to go? And I do think you're right. There's a messaging issue, that's kind of part of that. But I think, I think, how do you reach those? Like, I feel like all the things that you listed would reach kids that are already going to school here. But yeah, it's a little bit of a mystery for the kids going elsewhere, private schools and homeschool and stuff.
I do think looking at, even though we're making cuts early childhood, like the preschool being affordable and for Dayton students in our boundaries, being really strategic about how we continue to invest in and design that on this bookend of schooling, and then on this bookend, CTE opportunities that are unique to our geography and our population of students and our community is imperative. I think if we don't do either one of those bookends well, we'll continue to lose. This is the first time that our enrollment projections are taking this big of a dip, and One of the reasons that we haven't been proactively making cuts and just responding to the enrollment we have is because of the work with the city and the infrastructure that was projected to come in terms of housing and business to Dayton. But we're also, that hasn't happened on the timeline that was projected to happen on. So I was hopeful that those things would have transpired by this spring so that we would see that uptick. But the infrastructure in Dayton is expanding, and with that, you can predict that we will have an uptick in enrollment. To what extent? I don't know. And it might be good to have a work session about who are we targeting and how do we get the messaging and information to them? Is it transfers because we're snagging so many? Do we want to stick with that? Or do we want to look at our homeschool families and specifically target that group, a both and situation? I don't know. And we also have started doing exit interviews with our students who are transferring out so that we have a better understanding of why families are choosing to transfer into other districts when they're leaving.
I believe Brooke has her hand.
Oh,
Hi, yeah. So I know this doesn't have to do with the kindergarten enrollment, but I mean, to add on, I've heard recently too that people still feel like there's still issues within the middle school. And I know a few people that are transferring students out before middle school to like Amity. And then a few still in elementary that are wanting to switch to homeschool because they still don't feel fully supported with their child on like an IEP and all of those by the whether it's with the teacher or not following their IEPs. So those are kind of more issues recently that I've heard. And then also, I think we do need to focus. I think Dayton has a huge homeschool population. And so looking into that as well, I think would be is where a lot of our numbers are.
Veronica, what do you hear about the junior high? What are they saying? What's their issues?
I think it's more so on the social aspect, not so much like the classes. It's just the social bullying or those issues.
So is there an option for kids that are homeschooled where they could be homeschooled, but they come to Dayton and take
Yes.
band or choir or whatever? And do we get to still count those kids then in some format?
No, I want to say they have to take at least half their classes here, and then Dayton, you could charge for courses, but we just let them, take a class out of the class or whatever. Because the more involved that we can get them in sports or in CTE classes, we've seen them kind of just slip into being a full-time student in that regard. But I will add to my notes to pull information about how many students we have that are also taking coursework at Dayton, but not considered ADM for us.
Well, I guess where my thought process was going, if we, and it sounds like we do, know kids in our district that are being homeschooled. And if we, tried to set a program for homeschooled students and let us help,
Yeah.
and like you say, once they start, maybe we'll pick them up. But if we put a program together for homeschool kids and we then set up an open house just for homeschool kids, I don't know, I'm thinking,
Yeah.
thinking out loud.
Yeah.
I think that's really creative.
See if we can.
And Robin has been talking to me for the last couple of years about starting an online, it's a slippery slope, so it has to be really thought out because you don't want to lose your own kids to not coming to in-person school, but creating an online program that if students have medical issues or severe anxiety or a lot of the things that cause students to unenroll and go to an online charter school or a private school, that we would have an option in-house so we can still count them for ADM, which is very doable to set up, and it's very little cost to set up. The problem is not losing your own students to
Right.
not coming in person. So
Yeah, I think what's most concerning to me is just that we just don't have the kids in our district. They're just not here.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do about that.
Mhm.
And I don't like the idea,
More.
huh? Well, Terry, I've done my job. I've got 3 in. I feel like I'm doing my part. But I don't like the idea of, like, if we filled all of these 386 additional interdistrict seats that are in this chart, that puts us at like a third of our students are
Yeah,
interdistrict transfers total.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And I have a lot of really mixed feelings about
Mhm.
that, but I'd be much more upset about it, I guess, if we had kids in town that weren't going to school here.
Yeah.
I mean, more anyway.
We are bringing exponentially in more than we're losing. But you're right, just infrastructure wise and birth rate wise.
Yeah. So
Have lost
this
the
probably
numbers.
isn't going to be a problem solver, but we signed an agreement with MAC on a development in kind of northwest Lafayette, where our lines kind of split this new development in half roughly. And we allowed those students to pick where they wanted to go.
Let's unallow
And so like, that's where I was going with Terry. Like,
them.
I don't want to be a jerk here,
Well,
but
so I had specific board meetings where they discuss how to stop losing students to Dayton. But I would be happy to engage in conversations with Courtney and do a little rock, paper, scissors over Lafayette,
I
but
mean, I get like your neighbor best friend is going to Mac and you're going to Dayton because that's just where the line happens to go between your houses or something, you know? And that's why we had agreed to say, you know, let them pick where they want to go. It's just an idea. I
Mhm.
mean, we're not going to get 300 students out of that development, but
But we don't have to end it, okay, now we're done, you gotta go to Dayton.
right.
We could phase it out over 3 or 4 years. So, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be a,
Or could we expand our boundaries some? I don't know the rules around this and take the whole neighborhood and then
Because flag.
we don't have that problem.
Neighboring communities. Mhm.
Well, I'm trying to think creatively too, Terry.
just one quick thing on your
Yeah.
homeschool thing.
Yes.
The parents homeschool these kids for a reason,
Mhm.
you know, and I think it's probably social, or they think they're gonna get a better education. And then we talk about kids going online, but what if we set up an online school for homeschool
Yes,
kids?
yeah,
Cause those
yes.
moms really, your dad, gonna get them
100%.
out of the house.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest.
I do
So-
think that would be, so if you're, the way it works, for an online school, the requirements from the Oregon Department of Education is that attendance is counted by two-way communication. So as long as a student has interacted with the teacher and the teacher has interacted with the student on that day,
Mhm.
then via email or on the phone or in person, whatever, then it counts as being present for the day. A lot of homeschool families struggle with having a curriculum that they can follow, especially for students as they get older than the parent feels comfortable with algebra 2 or whatever. And so having the parent be able to, instead of, they're still homeschooling in that they're at home with their child and are the one guiding the education, but they're taking the courses through our online program.
Right,
So we count
right,
them
Right.
as a student. I think we,
Yeah, like.
if
I
off the
like
top
that,
of my
as long as we don't lose, but a parent would have to want to be homeschooled. I mean, parents aren't gonna go. That aren't homeschool parents, they're not gonna say, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah,
Because
but
you're
we
either
do-
one or you're not.
we had an online program when I was at Mac, and the hardest part is how many people want to take it, because you have to still maintain the integrity of what we believe about school, right? That kids should be in person and kids should be interacting socially, kids should be experiencing all these other components that aren't just
Right.
the click this, answer to this passage or whatever. And so the real trouble is when students have to do hard things or they're dealing with anxiety, we want to help push them through that without them opting out of in-person school. And so there has to be some guardrails in terms of who do we as a board allow into that program. And so I do think that would be the most effective and efficient way to build enrollment in Dayton. And I think it could capture a significant portion of the homeschool students as well as a portion that have transferred out into other schools from Dayton. And then the work would just be us sitting together and saying, here's our values, here's our philosophy of education. How do we build those parameters around this program so it doesn't become a slippery slope? And now we've got students who are opting out of the programs we know are important for them to.
So you said it had to be at least half of their school day?
No, that's,
For-
well, that's, no, that's.
to count
that's
as-
different than the online thing.
To count as ADM on.
Count as ADM though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, cause if you have a parent that wants to still provide part of their schooling as homeschooling and just use parts of the school that maybe they're not as comfortable with
Mhm.
or whatever. I mean, then they'd really need to participate in 4 to 5 classes as a
Yeah.
minimum a day. Does sports count at all? That doesn't count at all, I assume? No, okay.
But if you put and even call it the homeschool program, and you targeted homeschool kids, and you build in the online school
Mhm.
with the advantage of, well, your kid can stay at home and take an online school, online just like you're doing now, and you can guide their program. But oh, by the way, they're also a student at Dayton, and they can take band and choir and a
Mhm.
CTE class, and this is our homeschool
Yep.
program, and that's
Yeah.
what we call it.
Mhm.
Back to your branding thing.
Yeah, I'm liking that.
And, you know, target the homeschoolers.
Right.
How would you prevent a student from, I mean, like you were talking about putting guardrails, but I'm trying to picture what a guardrail would look like if you've got a student who sees that and says, I want to do that, and the parent goes, okay. I mean, what would we do for guardrails for kids that see that a homeschool program and then
Yeah.
are attracted?
Right.
to that?
Well, and let me clarify. If you can't be declared through the state as a homeschool student and also the district collecting
Right.
money on, you can't have both those things simultaneously. So,
So we gotta sell it,
yeah. So you're at home doing school,
right?
you know what I mean? But if they're our student, they have to be attending at least this portion of the time for us to be collecting enrollment from them.
Unless we're an online school.
Correct. Well, then the school day is calculated entirely differently. Mhm.
But we still get, if we're an online school, we still get them.
We still get the full cost or the full funding for them, yes.
But I don't know, I think.
This
I think
does-
Mike is right, there's a population out there that we could go after and we put some sort of
Sure.
Mhm.
program together and wrap a bow around it and.
Yeah.
This does kind of feel like a work session though.
Yep.
where-
Okay,
So what are you
yeah.
asking of us here? Let me just.
I'm just
kinda-
asking to approve the numbers. It would be really strange to hit any of these numbers, so it is kind of arbitrary in that way. But they are set in a way that shows our total enrollment back to where Dayton was.
yeah, we've had over
Yeah,
1,000.
yeah.
That's
So-
where you came up with it
Yes,
essentially.
yes. And just to have a consistent, if we had graduating classes of 90, that would put Dayton at a place where we would be back to the enrollment that we had historically.
Sounds like we need a motion.
Yes,
Right.
when you're ready.
I moved that we approve the inter-district transfer criteria for the 26-27 school year as presented.
I second.
Been a motion to approve the inter-district transfer criteria for 2026-27 school year as presented by Director Albright and seconded by Director Paysinger. There's no discussion. Everyone in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 6-0. That brings us to the 26-27 calendar options.
Stephanie, I don't know if this is the right one, because the calendar that we were presenting had school starting the day after Labor Day, not before. Let me look for it.
Now, the one that was in the packet was the one starting at the end of August.
Yeah, no, let me find the one.
But I didn't see a new one get posted anywhere.
Oh, for the love. Sorry about that.
That's it.
Nope.
Yeah, I know, right?
No. Okay. Well, shoot. This is not the one that I thought was in the packet, and that's on me, not Stephanie.
I'm looking it up. See which one.
What we have to present though was the traditional 7-period day calendar. The building principals are prepared to experiment with double blocking. Some CTE classes and other places where longer courses would be advantageous. But we are not ready to make any other significant changes to the calendar. The calendar that I am looking for is the traditional calendar, but with the first day of school starting the day after Labor Day.
But the teachers would start before Labor Day.
Yeah, is this,
Which they always do, right?
yes,
Do you have it, like, could you email it real quick to us?
that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, so are we?
Let me s-
It's the one in Sean's there, right?
Yep, but I don't think, let me just test it real quick.
Which I had students that even, a lot of the students said they didn't know.
Calendar's gonna be death of me.
Mm-hmm.
That was the general consensus was that.
You have all of the ones from last time, I can look at them. Yeah, he's wrong though. Where's the packet of ones from last one? Let me get in the March. Okay. One moment.
I got nowhere else to be.
We're trying to get that done before.
Gonna wrap it up.
Oh dear. Do you have the March board packet? that You can look at
To
it?
practice outside today, Larry? Baseball, softball?
No, practice indoors.
Track.
There were moments, it's all right.
Yeah, moments, key word here.
Yeah, but track always really.
That's an outdoor sport.
No, I found it. You got it?
Softball,
Well, yeah.
Not when it's raining. We either cancel or go inside.
Bunch of wimps in softball, baseball.
There's one from, I know Molly
One E
has one too.
Has the
Softball for.
7-period, it's 1E.
No,
Palm
here we go.
Springs.
Hold on.
Awesome.
It's great.
Right here, Amy?
Do you have it up? No, that's this one. Yeah, hold on.
That starts after Labor Day.
There's one that it starts the 7-period day that starts after Labor Day though.
So it pretty much looks like this year's.
Yes,
Week at Thanksgiving,
yes.
couple of weeks at Christmas.
If you want to vote on the one you remember you saw that you don't see in front of you, and then I can send it to you, and if we need an amendment.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. I'll even make the motion.
I'm so sorry.
I make the
Goodness.
motion we approve the 26-27 calendar option that Amy has proposed,
Starting after Labor Day.
starting after
For
Labor
students.
Day.
I second it, so as we make that available to everybody, so it's really clear.
I'll send it to you as soon as I find it.
And we can move on with the meeting. It'll be great.
Would be hard.
There's a motion to approve the 2026-27 calendar option Amy presented starting after Labor Day by Director Paysinger and seconded by Director Whitowski. If there's no discussion, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 6-0.
Can I ask a question? You have the CTE committee, is that what that
Yes.
is? Okay. So someone said that we were still working on hiring an ag teacher. Does that go away with these new budget?
It does not
constraints?
go away.
Okay.
No. It's a
And-
position that we are filling.
Okay, and then, I feel like anybody coming in need to, I don't know, have a breakfast, a meeting at a, we need something to introduce this person, whoever it is,
Mhm.
into the community and get maybe some key people, you know, there's some people that just do have sway in the community
Mhm.
to meet with that person. I just feel like it's gonna be swimming upstream for them because we've always had a certain thing and, you know.
That, yeah, and I've debriefed with Robin a little bit, and obviously interview processes are confidential, but that is something that I know has already been discussed with candidates, is a plan to introduce and roll them out and not just start on day one in that position. So that is also something that that CTE advisory committee, I think, is on their agendas to work through. Is the first part was, what are we looking for in a candidate? And then the next phase is, right, so now what, once we've, yeah,
Yeah.
landed on one.
Okay, yeah, I want whoever comes in to be welcomed
Yeah.
and.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's crucial.
So while Amy looks for that.
I'm
can we
sorry, I'm like high-centered on this.
Go on and approve the revised budget committee calendar.
Yeah.
With the 19th, 20, whatever the dates were, 24th, whatever they were.
Terry wants to come every day.
Sounds like Terry has a motion.
We can let it go.
See, that way I can still come to the board meeting, not feel well on the budget committee meeting.
I'm in Arizona on the budget, no. Come pick you up.
I make a motion, we approve the budget committee calendar as presented.
A second.
And I did find the calendar. Just need to
Okay.
get it in the format I can.
There's a motion to accept the revised budget committee calendar as presented by Director Paysinger and seconded by Director Whiteowski. There's no discussion. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes 0. Brings us to board reflection. Chris, got anything?
I don't know that there's a lot to reflect on here in today's
Nope.
meeting. It would be interesting. I don't know, Amy, if we can get an update from the city on whatever they're doing with housing to try to, make Dayton a place where people can move in and live.
Yep.
I mean, that's really what's got to happen here
Yes.
when it comes to our student population. But so if you can find out any more information, that'd be really helpful. But that's all I've got for today.
I do have an update from earlier this year that I'll find and forward to.
Craig?
So I appreciated you calling it on the schedule. I'm glad that you chose to do it right rather than rush something that was maybe not well thought out. And I also am glad that at least with that, we've got the opportunity to play with some
Yeah.
things and to really see how they work within districts. So that is exciting.
Piper, anything?
Well, yeah, I agree, that I think, we want to do it right, so let's take the time, and that's great, and I liked, Terry had a couple of really great ideas on how we might, increase our enrollment, and that is great, so. That's all I have.
Veronica?
She's out.
So,
No, sorry.
Terry?
Yeah, I guess I just want to make a comment and about the budget and I honestly think it's going to be ugly. And I think it's going to be ugly, but I guess I would like everybody to, we gotta continue to be optimistic about it. We've been down this road before. The school district has on more than one occasion, and we always come out on top, and we'll make this one work too. And there's going to be hard choices to make, but I think if we just look at it and do what's best for kids and make sure they get the best education they can with the amount of money we have, we'll be just fine. And I think it's important that we all carry that message forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my thoughts on that.
Yep. I'm good. So With that, we'll close the board meeting at 6:47.
Perfect.
And
Under an hour.